Hello and welcome. This is Jim Kaufman with Rankin Technical College. This video is about the Spring 2025 Web Portfolio Lab assignment. So get started on this. This lab is the first step in crafting a dynamic web portfolio that will evolve throughout your journey as a developer. And to kind of stop right there, when I mentioned developer, I sent an email regarding this. And even though that you're still a student, you've already created code, you've already wrote code, right? You are in essence a developer, right? And just a quick note on titles in the tech world. There's different front end developers, back end developers, web developers, etc., etc. Sometimes they just call them programmers, okay? But the word developer is often a catch-all term, and so I think with that in mind, I want to reinforce something really important that your identity is developer. Yes, you're students, but you're already developers. You've written code, you've created projects, so there's as far as being a developer is concerned, there's no secret club to join. There's no magic exam that says, "Hey, I'm a developer." So you are all in essence a developer, and so you need to really have that mindset. It's very important. It'll really help you going forward here. So and also, so web portfolio is never truly finished. It's something that's going to constantly evolve throughout your career. Um, it's a crucial tool for landing that first development job and beyond that as well. So let's go ahead and look at phase one, foundation and content. So first, you do want to go ahead and create a GitHub repository. So for this, we're going to make this public website, just like what we did, like we doing for the midterm exam. I shouldn't say the midterm exam, midterm lab with the RSS feeds one. We're making that public as well, right? And that's one that you're going to end up being able to include within your web portfolio here. So you want to make sure that you create a public GitHub repository for this. So currently we're using our classroom, right? Your portfolio that's viewable is only viewable to you and to teachers and administrators that have access to that, right? It's not publicly available, right? So what we're going to want to do for this assignment is we're going to want to create a public repository. So if you go up the very top on the right hand side, you might have an image here, you might have whatever, but so click on that. And I have different accounts, so I hope don't let that confuse you as well. This one is the account I'm kind of using to be going along as a student throughout the course, even though I don't really check anything in. So here, you come over here on the right, click on your repositories, okay? And so I have a few different ones here. I have actually most of them are private. I have like 3 private ones and 1 public one, okay? That I've created these are outside of the classroom. These are outside of the whole class. When you join the classroom, when we set you up originally, setting up our environment. So these are other private ones I've created, and here's a public one I also have. But what you're going to want to do here is you want to come over where that green button is here on the right hand side, click new, and then make sure you grab, if you have multiple, make sure you grab the right one. Most of you are only going to have one there. And then here, you just want to call this whatever. Let's just say web portfolio. And then choose public. You want to make sure you choose public. You don't necessarily have to have a README file for this or that. You can choose a license if you want. A lot of times I just choose one by default, MIT license, create your repository. So it's basically that simple. Now you have your repository, right? And then from there, what you can do is go ahead and do the clone. So make sure you got HTTPS here. And then here's going to be your repository link. Okay. And then you want to copy that to the clipboard. From there, you want to open up GitHub Desktop, come up here to File, Clone Repository, and then make sure that you're doing the URL one. Like it could be these, it might by default, depending on what you've done last or whatever, it could be these other ones. You want to make sure it's URL. Paste the URL in there. You know, choose your local path wherever you want this to be. Okay. And then in my case, I'm just going to have it under this directory structure I have, Web Portfolio. I'm going to hit clone. So now you have, you know, basically there was nothing in there but the license. But now you have that directory. You can open up that directory within Visual Studio Code and start building your repository, right? All right. So that's kind of step one. The next thing I would do is, and this is up to you as far as you want to create a new email account. If you want to just use you know, or you might already have one. I don't know if you have multiple email accounts. I think that there's a big benefit in creating a separate email account that's, you know, just for like your professional, for job searches, for career related communication and stuff like that. But if you do that, make sure that you're either checking that, and sometimes, you know, like even within Gmail, you can have multiple accounts so that you can always view multiple, you know, you can kind of consolidate where you'll have multiple accounts so you'll see everything. But then if you just opened up that, if you logged into that specific account, that specific email account, you would only see the specific emails associated with that. Okay. Or I didn't say email, your communications within that email account, right? But you can include multiple accounts within like Gmail. And you don't have to do a Gmail account, you know, whatever else you use as well, that's fine. But, you know, just remember, if you do create a separate one, you want to make sure that you're either checking that very often or you have it integrated so you can always see, you know, anytime you get a new email, right? But that's your choice on that. That's optional. But one thing I really would do is if you don't have a LinkedIn account, I really would create a LinkedIn account. So LinkedIn, you know, provides a significant advantage for career development by allowing you to professionally network with other professionals in your area, access job postings, showcase your skills, etc. So I think this is very important. So I would actually make sure you go ahead and do create a LinkedIn account. Okay, next, structure and content. So I suggest that you know, if you can, if you're feeling, you know, we're starting to get more experience with Bootstrap and that. So I suggest you create your own website, but it's okay if you really want to use, I mean, some of these templates out there are pretty nice. So if you want to use some of the templates that are already created, here's a couple of websites that I just dropped in here. It's Bootstrap Made, Portfolio Template. Let me go up here. Let me click on that one. So here's some templates that you can download. Some things are free. These are free ones. Also, you can search if you want some other ones, if you want to pay for them. But here's some free ones here. So you can take a look at this, or, you know, just make sure if you use one of these templates that you don't just use this default images, right? You know, like this Alex Smith, and you don't want to just change the name and this be you, because that's not you, right? So, you know, make sure that you're spending the time to, you know, no matter if you create it yourself or you use a template, you really need to create the time, you know, use your time to create something that's really about you, right? And not just whatever's there by default. Okay, so this is one, and then I brought up another one here is Start Bootstrap, and then they also have some templates here as well. And so these are some free ones for that. Okay. So also, just real quick here, I want to show you a past student. He wasn't in my course, but he's in a different. I mean, he wasn't in. He wasn't in my classes. but he was in some other instructors classes, and I just kind of want to bring up his because he created his own here. And he's got some good graphic skills. Obviously, here he's got his Tony Cook's portfolio here on the little record going around, and a lot of people don't have all those graphic skills. I don't myself. Not to say that I couldn't do this or you couldn't do this if you wanted to spend the time to really do this, but having some people have these creative graphic skills and other people don't, and it's okay if you don't. I don't. So here's here's his site. So he created his own, right? And so here's his front page, right? His index.html. And I should really mention that. I'll probably put that within the directions. Make sure that your home page is the index.html, because that when you make that public on GitHub Pages, the same as what we did for the midterm assignment, the home page needs to be index.html. So here's his, and if you kind of scroll down here a little bit, he's got some basic information. So that's the home page. He has a portfolio, about me, resume, coursework, contact, just like what's in our directions for this lab assignment. So we'll go through some of this as we go. We'll go through his a little bit as we go through this assignment. Okay. So, but here's his home page, and we'll use this as an example as we go through this. Okay, so make sure you use a favicon for, like we did weeks ago. We used the favicon, so it'll be within a tab. Also, if you bookmark the page, you'll have your favicon. You can create whatever you want. Maybe something with initials might be better because it's kind of about you. It's not really about something else, but that's okay. Whatever works for you. And I do want to mention that a lot of this is more about meaningful content that you have in your different things than styling or that. Of course, you want it to look nice, you want it to be presentable, but this is where you're going to really have to come up with some content for this to be worthwhile, so to speak. So you've got different sections: about me, you have resume, contact, coursework, portfolio. So here, for about me, you just want a concise, engaging bio. And for safety and privacy, it's best probably not to include, your phone number, your home address, because this is a public site. Nowadays people can pretty much find whatever they want if they really want to try hard enough. But no reason to advertise this. It is a public site, for the most part. Even though the Google will scour, they scour the internet constantly, and your site will be visited by the Google robots and so forth, right? But the as far as it being found very easily, it's probably not likely. But you still want to kind of make sure that you're careful in that. So, like I said, it's probably best not to use your personal phone number or home address on this website. I would just use your email address, and especially, like I said, creating a separate new one. Okay. Now for the resume section, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and do a separate video just on resume, because I want to go through some specific things with that. So I'm going to do a separate video on that I'll send you. And then we have contact section. And this is where you're going to be using a JotForm. So you'll need to go out to JotForm and create an account. And you can play around with that a little bit, and it'll send an email to you. So go ahead and take a look at that. And you want to kind of include on this contact page as well, you want to include your new LinkedIn, okay, your new LinkedIn thing. And you can use the social icons. You can get one for LinkedIn and include that. And also, I'm mentioning your GitHub profile. So it's kind of like your your main page, right? It's not going to be your classroom. It's not going to be your classroom. It's going to be the one that we went up here. And you chose profile. So this is your main one, whatever you called yours, right? Whatever your name is. So that is what you will have here, okay? And so here would be your different repositories, but this is kind of your main page, okay? So a link to your main page, and here's your repositories. Now I do want to bring up a couple things on this that I'll probably mention more than once. So like I said, you have your classroom that's, pretty much private in that. And then here you can have some public repositories. So for anything that you decide that you want to share, how I would do this, okay, I would create a public repository of your coursework here, and then select things from your you'd have to do that. Then, use GitHub Desktop, get that all on your local, in your local file directory, and then go to your classroom and select the things that you want to make public, that you want to showcase, right? You might not necessarily want to grab everything. And because, well, one thing is, I know one assignment we had something where you've got your home address. I think a lot of people included their home address, their phone number, things like that. So maybe you don't want to have that just out there for the public. And so what I would do is take some things out of your coursework repository, and copy that over into a public repository for things that you want to share, right? Because you may want to do links so that you might have a screenshot on your web portfolio, and you click view code that will go to a public repository and show the code for that, right? And then also in our classroom repositories, you have a grading assignments. I have a grading Word document for each assignment generally. So you may not want that displayed as well, especially if you didn't get a high score, right? So, and then also if you don't think you coded something very well, and don't get too hung up and too picky about that. But you want to try to have some decent quality code out there as well. So that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And if you want to discuss that more, we can kind of discuss that more. Just let me know. But I would select what things you want to share, right? All right, let's go back to here. So we have a contact form, we have our coursework, and our portfolio. So let's go ahead and look at the student's work here. And so far his contact, I want to be careful here because I think he put it, some people are fine with it and it's up to you. I think he had his personal phone number, which I'm not going to share. So I'm going to be careful. I'm going to make this so I'm not sharing that. So here on this page, he had his call me. So I kind of skipped that one. Here's his email. So this is what he did, as far as for the contact page. Got the email, got it LinkedIn. Send me a message through LinkedIn. Here's a GitHub, view my repos. This is just ideas. You don't have to do it like this. Just trying to give you some ideas. And then here's that Jot form, contact me, where you'd fill this out. So you just need to go out to that jotform.com and spend a little time learning about that, okay? It's pretty basic, should not be a problem at all, okay? But here is his contact page. And like I'm showing it in this view, so if I show it in a full desktop, it's going to show his phone number, everything. So I decided not to do that. Now, as far as coursework, what he did on that one was he went ahead and created an accordion. So here's the different courses that he took. The same ones that you're taking and will be taking. So programming, fundamental C#. So just has a list of things he kind of learned in there. You could also include, I think in my directions, because I kind of rewrote this assignment than what it used to be, the previous one that they had student that instructors use. So I kind of included some things, maybe some screenshots on some of some of your assignments, maybe a little bit. That's up to you. I'll be very flexible. The important thing is I just want you to have some good content, have some spend the time to make it look good. Be some quality content and so forth. Then it doesn't have to be an exact way or anything like that. Okay. So, but this is what he did for this. So he has an accordion, things he learned. So it's kind of cool, kind of nice. So obviously you're not going to have some students that are in this course right now are just their first course, which is the web development technologies. There are quite a few that are in here that already taken C#. So you'll have both of these at this point, right? Obviously, you could put all four of them there, right? You can just not include anything yet, or you could put a little note, that it's a future course or something, whatever. And you don't have to do it like this. Come up with your own ideas, your own design. This is just one student's implementation. And then on this page, which is the resume page, and like I said, I'm going to do a separate video on the resume. But here he's got, he's using accordion. He's got his education, work experience, skills, accomplishments, different accomplishments. And I know, some people have a lot to put in here, and some people don't. So just do your best. And your accomplishments don't necessarily have to only be things that maybe some past accomplishments that are noteworthy you want to include. And I know it's easier for some people than others. Depends on what you have to put in here and where you're at along the journey, right, so to speak. So this is what he did. This is an example of what he did. He also has a link to view his resume. And so I'm going to kind of do something. I'm going to pause the video here for a minute because he has his phone number on that too, and I didn't want to really just display that out front like that. So let me get that situated here. So above this selection, he kind of had an objective, what his objective was, which is basically to find employment, to enhance his skills and knowledge. So, like I said, I kind of brought it down so I didn't show his phone number here, but he just has some skills. Obviously, we could tell from his homepage, he has some, like Adobe Photoshop skills, Illustrator. So he's got some graphic design skills here. Okay. So, but this is kind of the rest of his resume. This is just one way to do it. You don't have to do it like this. And depends on, what you want to do and what your skills are as well. So for the portfolio for this student, he basically has this previous work. Kind of click on this, brings up another screen, and so it kind of goes into the detail about this. And I think that was deployed on Azure, which is in the cloud. I actually click this; it's not viewable anymore. But just this is what he did, and this is for each thing on his portfolio. Now, as of right now, you're not going to have a lot, right? Actually, in the second year, you're going to have a lot more. I would say for right now, what you should be able to put on here would be your midterm, obviously. You could put some information about the students that have already completed C#. C#'s a little different where how we do our web forms and stuff. You can't really have that deployed somewhere, have that public somewhere. It's a little different because it's within a .NET type platform. So, it takes a lot more to have that set up like that. So, but you can do screenshots if you want, right? And I will show you a different student here. And so what he did for his C# stuff is he created some screenshots of his different applications he did in C Sharp. I don't think that we did the bookstore app in the previous C Sharp course, but here's some of the lawn care calculator app. I know we did that. So what he did here was he made some screenshots of his different C Sharp work, right? And then on each one, he has a view source code, so you can actually click it. And like I said, this is a situation where, for the students who already did C Sharp, your C Sharp code's within your private repository in the classroom. So what you kind of need to do is put that, take that code for those certain things and copy that over into a public repository. And then you can go ahead and click view source code and go to your public repository, right? I suggest you not take everything like I said earlier. So you might just want to select what you want to select. So just another idea, okay? And so you have different things here. The whole the coursework stuff is more specific to the course. The day in, day out labs we've probably done that, find the best stuff you have to kind of display a little bit. Whereas the portfolio is more of those really big ones that you did. And, I think the midterm, the RSS feed midterm could be a, perfect one to start with and go from there. Okay. And then especially the second year, you'll have some, and then also actually here in the web technologies course, you'll have a final project. So after this, you'll have 2 there, right? For the C Sharp, a little different there, but in the second year, you'll be doing the different platforms where you'll have some examples that you can put in there for your portfolio as well. So, okay. And then besides that, make sure you incorporate a professional image of yourself on there. Okay. And make sure that all the links are working, that you've got titles, like make sure you got your favicon. You really don't want any like placeholder stuff or things like that, right? You want to make sure everything's working and everything's real content, right? You don't have a bunch of fake content that's not relevant. And then, make sure that, you do it the same way we did before as you for the midterm, how we make that change on GitHub Pages. So for this web portfolio, go ahead and go to settings. So obviously there's nothing in here yet, but settings and then in pages. And this is where you come in here. This is none. This is where you select main, right? You select main and then hit save, and then it's going to build that. The reason I'm not doing that is because it's really going to fail anyhow, because it's really going to only work if you got an index.html file. So I don't have anything there. So I'm not going to do that right now, but that's all you need to do is when you do have the application deployed, and you can do it early on. You don't have to wait until it's completed all the way, right? Just like what we did for the midterm. But come in here and click your main, hit save, and it'll automatically build that, right? And then, just go ahead and send me the link to your web portfolio. Email it to me or send it me on Discord just so I have it a little easier. I can figure it out by playing around with using your user ID with GitHub and stuff, but it's easier just to go ahead and send me your link to your web portfolio. So that's about it. That's about all I have. And, please let me know if you have any more questions. I will do a separate video on Resume. And let me know if you have any problems with anything. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.